Hey everybody, it's been a while, but I had to make a comeback and tell everybody my thoughts on the presidential election yesterday. It was very easy to see that Trump was going to win, and it's very disappointing. I'm very disappointed. Now, there's a lot of talk about people. There's a lot of talk coming from everybody saying Trump was a genius because he did this and he did that, and Harris failed because she's just not experienced. She's not qualified enough, and all this. All of that is a bunch of bullshit. I'm going to tell y'all right here and now. And I don't care if I lose any of my 16 followers when I say this, okay? Trump won because, bottom line, America is still sexist. Plain and simple. I know a lot of people are like, well, yeah, that's sexist, but don't forget racist. Well, yeah, that's true. But let's stick to ballistics here. Harris wasn't the first woman to run for president, okay? Clinton. You can't say everybody was racist because Hillary Clinton, during the time that Hillary Clinton was running, okay? You can say, however, America is still sexist, How about Hillary's rivals, every one of them? Buchanan, that one lady from Alaska. I already forgot her damn name. That's how sexist we are. No, I'm just kidding. All of these other ladies that tried running for president, even Republicans, they were X'd out, fused out, voted out, and just completely ignored when the time came for America, whatever side you were on, to stand up and say that you're not sexist. Okay? A bunch of billion reasons were made up as to why even Republican women who went for election were neglected, not voted out, had some man to choose over. Okay? And speaking of, okay, I'm talking about Republican women, but let's talk about Democratic women. Let's talk about Elizabeth Warren, someone who's very qualified. She throws out economic plan after economic plan. Katie Porter is qualified. She threw out economic plans. She showed how she wouldn't put up with Wall Street and the big banks, Wells Fargo, Chase Banks, even Elizabeth Warren. They all demonized these women for questioning their business and Wall Street. These are ladies that would have actually have governed and run economically, to top it all off, the country very well. But America chose to ignore them. America chose to vote them out, to vote for somebody else. Bottom line, America is still a sexist country. When you've got somebody that could create a good economic plan, who cares that it's coming from a woman? Okay? Who cares about that? There's just no physical evidence that says the whole world is going to come to an end with a woman running as a president for the United States of America. I got to put my glasses because I really can't see myself. And then to top it all off, we had ourselves this one that was willing to object to everything 2025, Project 2025 stood for. She looked at what was going on. She looked at immigration. She handled immigration with other countries to where all of the stuff dropped low. Everybody says that by the time Trump left office, everything was low. Technically, no, that's not true. Trump was still in office even when he was outvoted for Biden. He was still in office for the last few weeks. And he's over there saying, well, look at the last few weeks. Migration dropped considerably. No, it dropped during the first few weeks of the Biden administration. It wasn't until governors like my worthless Texas governor Greg Abbott started busing them in that the migration spiked. You know, so now fast forward to 2024, we have one that was going to be handling migration the way she's been handling it for the past 3 years, using other Latino countries to maintain and hold. And you know, when you got somebody that's going that far, making it a whole Western Hemisphere thing, who cares that it's coming from a woman? It shouldn't matter that that's a woman that made that big giant leap and came up with such a productive result. It shouldn't matter that came from a woman. Economic plan. Everybody said that she was following Bidenomics. Well, Bidenomics did this $1 trillion infrastructure plan. Okay, Bidenomics was going to do the wealth tax plan, where the wealthy was going to finally pay their fair share of taxes, and Harris was going to follow up on that as soon as she became president. Now, when you got the wealthy paying their fair share of taxes, it restores 46% of the nation's economy. Okay, so the president could have Congress and all them keep taxes at a low rate, with the wealthy paying their fair share of taxes, and we would be fine, economically A-okay. Now, when you got a plan that solid and all it needs is just to be put into motion, who cares if it's coming from a woman? Who gives a shit? The thing is that the plan would have worked. The plan would have worked, and you blew it, people. Stop and frisk. That hasn't been a problem since we pushed out Trump, especially when Trump was finally out of office. With Harris in the field, with Harris in the Oval Office, she would have pressed the matter a whole lot more seriously than any other politician has. Would have put a point to stop and frisk, okay? Pull over, profile and pull over. Well, as it said here in Texas. Guys, when you've got a plan that's going to stop and frisk and make it completely illegal, who cares if it's coming from a woman president? It's the simple fact that it's coming to tuition. Inflation, shrinkflation. Okay? This means that with a president that's trying to tackle this job, there would have been investigations on companies that are responsible for this inflation and shrinkflation bullshit. And if it turns out, this means there would have been investigation, and if it turns out there would be no reason for the business to be doing this crap, then that would have been made illegal and the laws would have been enforced. And if that's what you got going, who cares if it's being done by a woman president? It's the simple fact that things would have gotten done. I'm telling you, the bottom line, you know, there's going to be a bunch of BS reasons as to how this turned out into the outcome. None of it is going to be true. None of it. The only thing that's going to be 100% factual is that America is still a sexist country to this day. A sexist country. Like, don't forget racist. Well, we can't really say that. You can't really say that. There's a whole load of black men. Not normally black women. Black women are usually very monolithic in supporting who they want to support. So if they're going to support Biden, they supported Biden. They're going to support Harris. You know they supported Harris. But it's mostly black men that voted against women. And honestly, what is it with you black men that hate women so much? You've got somebody that's willing to do the stop profiling shit. And when you got somebody that's willing to make that into law, who cares if it's a woman or a black woman that's going to be president, that's going to make... The point of the matter is that law would have passed, and this stop and frisk, profiling and pull over, that shit would stop. We'd have the law actually stopping crime instead of creating criminals out of people. So you can't really say it's racism. You can't really say. You could probably say that about white people. Well, white men, let's just be honest. Statistically, white men usually do flow with white men. Plain and simple. They usually vote for white men. Okay? It's the white women that's usually backing them up for some reason. You know? So women are sexist also. It's not just men that's responsible for the sexist shit. It's also women. Now I'm looking at blacks and I'm looking at white who bottom line, once voting day comes, once voting day has arrived, they let their true colors show. Okay? But it's not just blacks and whites. Take a look at my Latinos. Every single Latino showed their true colors last night also. That they would rather vote for somebody else other than a woman or even a black woman. Okay? They showed their true colors at the same time. And that's both men and women, Latinos. A lot of people speculate that Trump said, well, you're here now, so you're legally now, so you're on my team. What I'm going to do is protect you from the illegals that are doing all this shit. No, he's not. As sure as he's deported legal Mexican, dude, the guy once deported a freaking Border Patrol agent, Mexican American. Okay? Born and raised in the States. Okay? Trump also deported that son of a bitch. It's just 100% proof. Now, when you've got somebody that's willing to put up a border bill and actually reorganize everything, reform it into a working department agency, who cares if it's coming from a woman? Who cares if it's coming from a woman president? Why in the world would you give a damn? How in the world does that even make any sense? Bottom line, America is still just a sexist country. It's not because Trump was a genius. It's not because Harris was this or that, or wasn't this or that. It's just the bottom line is that America is still a sexist country. And it's an obstacle that we seriously need to go. And again, it has nothing to do. I mean, it does. I'm sure racism has a portion to it. But again, Hillary Clinton wasn't a black or Asian woman. She was just a woman. Katie Porter, Elizabeth Warren. Okay, it's proof that she wasn't even. It's proof that Elizabeth Warren wasn't Native American. Okay, only 1 of 100%. You know, so you could throw racism into it, but more than likely it was because she was a woman. The woman had a huge economic plan to restore our country, and everybody ignored her. You know, so now we've got fast forward to 2024. You know, and you've got all of this this crap going on. Do you honestly think that inflation is going to stop just because Trump is not? I'll bet you your damn job. I'll bet you your voice that it's not gonna. That companies are still going to be using shrinkflation while keeping the prices high, and some made-up BS excuse is going to be made, and for some oddball reason, everybody that follows Trump is going to back it up. Do you honestly think quiet hiring, quiet firing, and quiet quitting is going to stop? I'll bet you $1 million it's not. I'll bet you the business that has the biggest, and the proof was the stupid still hiring signs, these banners, they're tattered, they're weathered out, they're dust collected, up to $14. Okay, up to $12.50 an hour. You know, proof that none of that, those signs are still going to be there. Why? Because people are going to be quitting, employees are going to be fired, and their types of people, the bosses types of people are going to be hired. Okay? That's not going to change also. That's horrible to the economy because it doesn't create a steady flow of income. It doesn't state a steady flow of income. If you don't have a steady flow of income, you don't have a steady revenue. We had somebody that was going to tackle this shit, and you blew it. Bottom line, you're going to hear a bunch of BS crap about, and I'm saying this again, I'm going to close off saying this. Bottom line, America is still a sexist country. Trump didn't win because he's a genius. Harris didn't lose because she wasn't. The bottom line is that America chose to not vote for Harris because they're still sexist. They didn't vote for Trump. They just didn't want to vote for Harris because this country is still sexist. Regardless of what all the bull crap is going to be said. Now that that's out, now that I vented out, it's the middle of the week. The weekend is going to be coming soon. There's some talk that Trump is going to go after some people that oppose him, which obviously means people who follow him might be going after people that oppose Trump, which means people that want to join in on going after oppositions. There's going to be some people that are going to be people of hate that are going to be victimizing the defenseless and the unaware. Okay? Guys, be careful out there. Okay? I'm not saying that we're going to go through some kind of civil war or any of that other bullshit. I didn't believe that was going to happen even if Trump lost. The only thing that I saw happening is what I'm predicting right now. Is that you're going to get a bunch of angry people. You're going to get a bunch of angry people preaching so much hate that one person out of all those angry people is actually going to shoot at a school or shoot at a gay nightclub. And that's it. They're going to shoot into a Walmart, okay, or a Target. Why be discriminative? Okay, that's all that's going to happen. That's all that's going to happen. So with that, be careful out there, okay? Pay attention to your surroundings. Take a look at your surroundings. Always try to find a place to duck and hide. And if you could, please try to make some room for that one girl who's with the bad boy, who says he ain't afraid of nothing. But as soon as the gunshots start going off, pow, pow, pow. Dang, I hope my girlfriend didn't get shot. And he goes diving for cover, leaving her behind. For those of us who will be looking over our shoulders and looking for places to hide, try to find a space for somebody that got left behind. I'm pretty sure she'd appreciate it, because this hate mongering shit, it's not going to stop, and you're not going to be fighting for freedom should you have to put down somebody that's wanting to act out in hate, that's wanting to commit a hate act, okay, a hate crime. Now more than ever, we're going to be demonized. People like us who stand up for a defenseless person or defenseless people, we're going to be criminals now. And even if it's not legitimate in law, it will be. So me making a wellness check, yesterday morning, I did a wellness check. Somebody was in a house garage, on a corner house garage, flickering the lights off and on. What caught my attention was that it was flickering in old Morse code. 3 fast, 3 short, 3 fast. Old Morse code, that's SOS. And it was repeated. I didn't want to break in and say, hey, what's going on? So I called for a wellness check. And I told them specifically that SOS thing, that's what I was noticing. And this was on my way to work, so I really couldn't go back to check to say. I couldn't wait around for a cop to say, so you're the one that made the call. I couldn't. I had to go work. I had to earn something. Now the light, when I passed it today, the light wasn't flickering at all anymore. So I can only assume that the cop checked into it and everything turned out to be okay. But here's the thing. I haven't received any word for it, which means the cop blew off the wellness, say everything's okay. Ergo, there's no reason to pull my name up into this anymore. Okay? Now that we got people like Trump and Governor Greg Abbott enforcing what Trump does and vice versa, you do a wellness check, you're more than likely going to be in trouble. Okay? You're more than likely going to be called for disturbing the peace or rattling the cage or getting the law involved in something, and that's it. I mean, a legitimate concern would be getting the law involved for something that was a hoax or wasn't planned or wasn't real or wasn't true. Even if it was true, you're more than likely going to get in trouble with the law now, because this is what it's like under Republican rule. We here in Texas got some pretty good glimpses of that, and now the majority of the U.S. is going to be going through this also. There's going to be more of that damage reports and stuff like that. I can't remember his name, Dr. Rashid, somebody that throws out these damage reports. The Young Turks, although I have to change my voice and say we shouldn't really be paying attention to the Young Turks anymore. Once that Gaza Israel thing started, they just quickly showed their true colors, how anti-Jew they are. Every little thing that the Jews did was the sole reason why Gaza was being genocided. And that's just wrong. So now that we've got Trump that's supposedly just going to allow Netanyahu to do whatever he wants, oh my God, the anti-Jew shit is going to be preached and all this other crap on the Young Turks. So if you're a friend of mine, you want to watch that shit, go ahead, but please don't tell me about it, because that's just another disappointment that I'm heading to, that I'm going to be looking at. Despite the fact that, Damage Report is a branch off of the Young Turks, Humanist Report, fair and balanced and all them. Everybody's going to be this anti-Semitic pieces of shit. Or Ring of Fire, not so much fair and balanced. I don't know what he thinks of Jews, but Ring of Fire is a branch off of that. So everybody's just going to be this Jew-hating network from here on out. So I highly recommend just don't pay attention to them anymore. You don't have to pay attention to me, but at the same time, because I'm not an actual show. I'm an amateur podcaster. I'm doing this in between jobs, in between my next deliveries. And hold on, gotta block the noise. And there's just gonna be a whole buttload of anti-Semitic rhetoric shit going on from here on out. On my comments, that's what you got to expect. Me saying this kind of ugly truth. And it's not so much about being an ugly truther. It's just sticking to common sense, And that's it for right now. I'm sort of going blank. I just had to let out this one horribly ugly fact that Trump's not a genius. Harris isn't a failure. America is still just a sexist country. We've got a long way to go. Hollywood is still Weinstein country. Politicians are still, douchebags, Haters are still people of hate. And as long as you remember that, it's not going to matter who's president and who's not. Just remember that you can't take credit for anything anymore. Somebody was, here's another one. And I told you, I said it about this. I just can't remember which segment. There was another time back when I was an Uber driver. This old lady was rolling around on the ground in the middle of the street. And it turns out she was taking one of those drugs where they lose control of their body functions. And one of the symptoms is that they're tossing around. And this is back when I think Narcan was the answer to it. They had to inject it into their arms, and then they could maintain control again. When I was Uber driving and I saw this senior citizen lady rolling around on the ground, I turned my hazards on and I started to wave everybody down and start, directing them to the other way while this lady was right in front of my own car, just rolling around, and there was already people saying, "Hey, I think she's got a knife. Be careful," because I think she's got a knife in her hand. She didn't have a knife in her hand. But this was the typical reaction of people that just think getting involved in helping with people is a bad thing. That's a natural reaction. That natural reaction of them is going to be happening more and more. That's also what to expect. You're going to be looked at as a person that's not doing the right thing and helping out that person that's, like I said, was overdosing right in the middle of the street. That one person that was flickering SOS with the lights in a garage of a house where that person in there could have been trafficked. There's a few other things like that. And now that we've got everything going this way, now that the Republicans have taken over and all this other shit, you got to expect that from happening. You can't be a good person to your neighbor anymore. At least that's what to be expected. Okay? That's what's going to happen. And if you do, you got to make sure nobody knows about it. If you're going to be a good person to somebody that overdosed and is lying in the middle of the street, for pulling him out of the middle of the street, you'll be arrested for irresponsible handling. Okay? You're going to get arrested for getting involved, despite the fact that you're dragging a person off of the street. He's drug overdosed, or he's too drunk. He's just too lit. This has happened also for those of you in San Antonio on Fredericksburg Road. Some dude was staggering and all this stuff. He was falling off of the sidewalk into the street. I pulled over and motioned him over to the way. Somebody called the cops or something because there was already a cop coming and pulling out the medical kit. Okay. I don't remember what segment I told that about also, but yeah, when you're somebody like me that does driver job deliveries, who used to do Uber or ride share, because I did more than just Uber. I also worked for Lyft and I also worked for other companies. Here's the thing: when you're doing this driver stuff, you're getting exposed to all of this stuff. Okay, and to give a helping hand shouldn't be illegal. But we're heading towards that way very, very soon. We've already got a couple of number of incidences during the Biden administration, during the Trump administration. Now that Trump is back for his second and final term, thank God, expect to see these kind of ridiculous arrests on your news. And I'm coming up to half an hour. I'm going to stop right there. Y'all take care. Y'all take it easy. Bottom line, America voted for Trump because it's still a sexist country. Y'all take care. Y'all take it easy. We got a long way to go still. Longer way to go. Still. Anyway, we'll take care. You take it easy. This is Chris with Chris's Comments, signing out.